we're going to continue to simplify expressions. Remember, expressions do not have equal signs. We are taking terms, we are simplifying them down to their smallest form. Today, our expressions are going to include negatives. Remember, at any time, if you want to pause the video and try one on your own and then turn the video back on and check it, feel free to do that. All right, so our two rules, we talked about this yesterday. The first step is to distribute. So you're going to clear parentheses by distributing the numbers outside the parentheses. And then the second step is to combine like terms. You're going to look for the terms that match, and you're going to combine them. Okay? So here I have 4n minus 7 minus n plus 9. So we're going to look for like terms. So I see a 4n, and I see another n, and it's a minus n. That minus is important. Now, what's the coefficient of that minus n? What's there that's not written, but we know it's there? There's a 1, right? So this is 4n minus 1n. What's 4n minus 1n? 3n, correct? Next, I have two constants. Those are two numbers. They don't have variables. Let's see what happens when I combine those, because constants are like terms. I see a minus 7 and a plus 9. So when I have negative 7 and I add 9, what do I get? Positive 2. So 4n minus 7 minus n plus 9 simplifies to 3n plus 2. Next one, 9 plus a minus 2 minus 7a. So let's look for our variables. I see an a, and I'm going to circle that plus in front of it. That's important. And I see what kind of 7a? A negative 7a. So I have a minus 7a. Now, how many a's is that? That's a 1a, right? So 1a minus 7a. If I have 1a and I subtract 7a, what am I left with? Negative 6a. Then I look at my constants. I have a positive 9 and a negative 2. So 9 minus 2 is a positive 7. So that simplified to negative 6a plus 7. Neither one of those had distributive property. This next one is these next two are going to have distributive property, so watch carefully. Here I'm going to distribute this negative 7. Notice I circled it with the minus so I can see it. I'm going to distribute it to the first term. I'm going to distribute it to the second term. So negative 7 times 2r. What's negative 7 times 2? Negative 14r. Then I'm going to do negative 7 times positive 3. What's negative 7 times positive 3? Negative 21. I'm going to bring my 11r down. So I distributed, that's step 1. Now I'm going to combine like terms. I see a negative 14r and a positive 11r. Those are like terms. Negative 14 plus 11 is negative 3. Bring down the r with it. Minus 21, that's my only constant. There's no like terms there, so I bring it down. Negative 3r minus 21. All right? P plus 6 minus 6 times the quantity, P minus 2. Remember, this looks a little weird. Some of us really want to take care of this, but remember we've got to do that distributive property first. That's multiplication, so we do that first. So we're going to bring down the P. We're going to bring down the plus 6. We're distributing a negative 6. Negative 6 times P is negative 6P. Negative 6 times, what is this back here? A negative 2. So pay attention. I've got a negative 6 and a negative 2. I get plus 12. Now I want to look for my like terms. I see a P and a minus 6P. Now, how many P's is that right there? Is that 1? So I have 1P minus 6P. That's negative 5P. And then my constants, I have a positive 6 and a positive 12. That gives me plus 18. Next, I want to look at a special case that tends to confuse people. Look here. I have 8c plus 2 minus, and then in parentheses, c plus 2. This right here, this minus outside of parentheses, or a negative outside parentheses, what we need to know is that's distributive property. We are distributing something here. What might be in front of these parentheses that's not written? Well, if it's not written, it's likely a 1. We are going to distribute a negative 1. So if you have a negative outside parentheses, you distribute a negative 1. Okay? So we're going to bring down our 8c, we're going to bring down our 2, and now we're going to distribute this negative 1. Now, what is negative 1 times c? Negative 1 times c is going to be negative c, or negative 1c. You could write the 1 there if you needed to. And what is negative 1 times a positive 2? Negative 1 times a positive 2 is negative 2. Now, look what happened here. This started as c plus 2. When we distributed a negative 1, what happened? The signs changed. Okay, that's important. If you'll look for that, that will help you out. So now, for like terms, I have 8c minus c. Remember, that's a 1 there. So 8c minus 1c would be 7c. Then I have a positive 2 minus 2. What happens with 2 minus 2? Is 0. Would we write plus 0 out here? Do we have to write plus 0 out here? We don't, because 7c plus 0 is just 7c. So my 2's, they cancel. Positive 2, negative 2, that becomes 0. I'm left with 7c. All right? If you want to, you can pause the video and try this one on your own because it's very similar to the first one. So minus w plus 4 minus, in parentheses, 3w minus 13. Remember that when there's a minus outside parentheses, we're distributing a negative 1. So we're going to bring down the minus w, we're going to bring down the 4, we're going to distribute this negative 1. Negative 1 times 3w is what? Negative 3w. Negative 1 times negative 13, negative times a negative becomes plus 13. Again, look what happened. I had 3w minus 13. When I distributed a negative 1, my signs changed. I multiplied everything by negative 1. Now, let's look for our like terms. I have minus w minus 3w. Remember, there's a 1 here, so minus 1 minus 3, that is minus 4w. Then I have plus 4 plus 13, and 4 plus 13 is 17. If you have any questions, ask Ms. Gibbs, and we will put this in our notebook.